Katie.
Yes.
I know that you're newly married. I guess that's the right way to put it.
Yes.
Okay. You're still in the honeymoon phase, and then a marriage is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And you've never asked for any input from me, but I just want to share with you.
Yes.
We've been married 31 plus years, and between Carol and me, it ain't easy.
It ain't easy. Okay, that's good to know, because obviously right now we're in the grade phase, but I know it's going to get a little tough.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of curious, like, what's our first big fight going to be? I haven't
had it yet.
Not the big, no, that little like, oh, I want this, I want that, but not the big blowout yet. So
Okay.
I'll let you know when that happens.
I
Well, here's the deal. Today we are introducing you to a Bethany Beach couple that's been there, done that. Now they've written a book about it. The 5 Core Conversations for Couples. And we are happy to have the authors of that book with us today, Julie and David Bullitt. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Good to meet y'all.
So you guys have been married for 34 years. So they got you beat, Jimmy. So what?
Yeah, well,
got that going
they
for
know better than I do.
You have 4 daughters.
Yes.
2 biological, 2 adopted. You've dealt with a lot.
Yes.
Right?
We have dealt with our fair share.
Yes, we have.
Fair
Yes, we
share.
have.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have.
So I take it you took these experiences, and while raising the kids, was that a biggie?
Oh, yes.
That's a biggie. Raising kids is a biggie.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
we all try our best, as they say, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but so that's the gestation of the book, right? You know, so Julie's a family therapist. I'm a divorce lawyer.
Okay.
And we come to issues from very different places, different perspectives, come up with different answers to things. And we went back, 30 years into our marriage, and I said, you know what, maybe we've had these funny discussions, maybe we can do something with it. And that's sort of how the book was born.
That's an amazing dynamic.
Yeah, that's
to
right.
put
I try to
together between
save
you two.
people, save marriages, help families, and marriages stay together. And when that doesn't happen, they show up in his office.
We try to save them
Which
too.
you don't want. But you try to save them too.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. No,
different
actually,
way.
it's funny because I'll hear him speaking to somebody or, on the phone, and he often counsels people to try to work it out. Not just like let's head to court, but let's, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about talking to them or, going for marital counseling? So it's kind of interesting.
An admirable approach, because
Yeah.
that's not what one typically thinks of when it comes to a divorce attorney.
Well, you got to. What I tell people, and probably you do the same in your field, is you got to be me. You got to be you.
Right.
So while you may have been a mentor to someone,
Yeah.
that person ultimately has to
Yeah.
do it their way. And it's the same thing for my world and Julie's as well.
Yeah.
And so what are the challenges that you guys have helped people work through?
Well, I mean, in terms of what I see in my office, lots of times communication is an issue, and I would say that that's really what our book focuses on, is getting people to talk, getting people to, dive in and talk about issues that are often difficult.
Right.
And-
So I'm sorry. Yeah, let's talk about
Yes,
your book.
here, would you like a copy of
Yes, thank you. Oh, look, you got
yes,
one too.
Yes,
The
yes.
5 Core Conversations for Couples. So a lot of personal experience has gone into putting this together?
So you go into a bookstore or library, you're going to see a lot of books, right, about relationships and how people can work through troubles and so forth. The difference here is that these really are conversations that we had, and while they've been edited somewhat, not in many places, not very much, but and they're sort of grouped into these areas that if you think of, and you've been married a long time, you're just getting launched, but that we as a couple, and every couple ultimately will deal with these buckets of issues, and so that's how the book is divided up. But it's very personal to us. Our kids put their hands in over there as they go, no. Way too much information for them. But we felt like if we're going to do it this way, we really had to do it. So we did open our lives up pretty big in this book.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Is that a little scary?
It is. As a therapist, it's kind of strange because I have people that I'm working with that have read my book, that have come to me for, counseling based on reading the book, and they know a lot about me. And that's a weird dynamic, because as a therapist, usually you're, very, kind of private and you don't share a lot. But, these people know a lot about me. And I tell them, I say, for better or for worse, you probably know more than you want to about me. But I'm here to help you.
Okay, the name of the book is The 5 Core Conversations for Couples, and you've got them listed here. can you stick around for just a minute? I want to ask you about one in particular called work-life balance. Can you hang out for a minute?
I think we can.
Okay, all right. Don't go anywhere. Delmarva Life will be right back.
All right, we are back and continuing to dive into the book, The 5 Core Conversations for Couples with the Bulitts here. It's almost like the 5 core conversations could be 5 bullets.
Yeah.
Never heard that before.
No.
So we want to ask you about, one of the 5 core conversations was work-life balance. Tell us a little bit about kind of what's going on there.
People get lost in relationships and often, don't make time for themselves. And we've, over the years, been really good about having our date nights and also having, time away with friends. He's been doing a guys' weekend for how long?
A while since we had the first baby. But they say all the sports stuff is right. There's no I in team,
Right.
And we are firm believers that there is an I in we.
Yes.
And there has to be. We think there has to be. And you're right. The relationship part things can fray, right? Time. I got kids. I got to get it. You got to get to the studio. Got to get to work. Got to go here. Got to go there. And it's not like it's a purposeful ignoring of your partner, but it's I call it malaise creep, and that's what happens. It's insidious, and over time. And what I see in my office is folks who show up after living through that for 5 years, 10 years, 20 more years, and all of a sudden you look across the table and you don't really know this person anymore, and that connection has given way because of all the other stuff, not because purposefully you wanted to hurt your partner, but just because of life things. So we both believe in making a real effort not to let that happen.
Well, then let me ask you this. You've got someone who's been married 20 years, 30 years. This is just the way it is. It's never going to change. Is this really something that if they'll open up to it, you feel could make a difference for both of them?
Absolutely. I mean, I've worked with couples that are, in their 70s and 80s, and you can always change if you want to. If there's, if something's not feeling right in your relationship or with yourself, there's always ways to work on it.
Part of what I think is the heart of this book is that, somebody say, oh, they have all the answers. Well, we don't. And we didn't.
Do not.
And we went to war, we had battles many times, or differences many times. And this book sort of bears all of that. And I think, when you say, well, what do you hope to get out of it, right? Is that we hope that people see we all have stuff.
Yeah.
It's not, whether you're a divorce lawyer or you drive a truck or you do whatever, a cameraman, whatever it might be. Everybody has stuff.
Yeah. And that you have to work on it.
You
have to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's the gist of the book, is the conversations, helping people communicate.
And I'm curious, let's say somebody's been through it. They've had a tough couple years, maybe just a tough couple months.
Yeah.
Can it be almost like I'm a newlywed, right? So it's great right now, but can somebody get to, 10 years down the road and it's way better than it ever was?
Well, that's interesting that you asked that, because I think, in our own relationship and what I've seen with couples is when hard things happen, you don't want them to happen, you never wish for them to happen, but when you get through them, you're stronger. And
I love that. There's so much hope there, I feel like.
Well, that's what we hope, because there is. And even with folks who are struggling, who think that maybe they made a mistake or think now's the time to go, but I really still care for this person. There's ways to find your way back. But it all starts with, not knowing that could happen. So what do I do to prevent it from happening?
Right.
Now, not 2 years from now or 5 years from now. I'm giving you a little quick life lesson.
Predicting that there will be ebbs and flows in your relationship.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, David jokes, we've been married 34 years, and he'll say 17 of the best years of his life.
And everybody laughs. And she hates when I say that. And even you said it.
I don't hate it, but I think it's a funny joke, but it's not kind of really a joke, because probably maybe it's more than 17 years, but there's been really hard times where you wonder, what did I do and how am I going to get through this?
If couples are going to read this, do they read it chapter by chapter together? Do you suggest talking about it together? Like, what do you?
We've had
people go to
both
different
ways.
pieces.
Yeah, both ways. So I've had people, read it individually and then give it to their partner.
Okay.
And I've had, I have a couple that I'm working with right now that is, listening to the book because it's also on that platform as well. And they're listening to it together. And after, in each of the chapters, there's something called couples Kickstarters, which are questions to help make conversations happen. And some people really, really like them, and other people like, I'm not doing that.
I did workbooks in elementary school.
It's fine. You don't have to use them, but they are ways to get conversations started if communicating is difficult.
That was a great question because I'll be honest with you, if Carol read it and said, you need to read this, that's not going to go over well. I'm just saying, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
David and Julie Bullitt, the 5 core conversations for couples, thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon. Absolutely fascinating.
Thank you for
book.
having us.
Prime time to get this book. I'm excited.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
It'll be done before you know it.